Hey everybody! So, the video I was planning on making today was going to be on why you need an email list, and then I realized that if you're going to have an email list, you had to have some branding to go in your email list, like as a logo. So then I decided that today's video needed to be on branding and logos. So that's what this is going to be. So if you are, I'm assuming you're starting out, and like most people, at least with me, when you're starting out with kind of a craft business, it's probably like you make something cool and you enjoy it, and then your friends and family are like, hey, I want one of those. So then you may start making stuff for them. So then you kind of end up with kind of a business before you end up with a brand. I feel like that's how it usually goes, or at least how it went with me. And so it's really easy to fall into just being like, Susie Q's coasters. Because that's, like you're Susie Q and you make coasters, so that's what people are like, yeah, you should get her to make you a coaster. And there's nothing wrong with having your official business name be like, Coasters by Susie Q, that's fine. But at some point in time, like I said, you do need to, if you want your business to grow, move into having things like an email list and a website, or even if it's like an Etsy shop, like, they've got places for banners and logos, and, you need to look a little bit more legit than like a squinty picture of you in the side that you don't like. So, I can definitely identify with that. So, you kind of want to start thinking about branding and maybe getting a logo, and I do have a couple hacks on that. So I know this is probably not something a lot of people like to do. I'm kind of a marketing nerd, so I enjoy branding and marketing in general, like, commercials and stuff. But if that's not you, I understand. But I would say kind of the first thing, so I've already covered why you need to have that going forward, because it's hard to grow. It's hard to grow if you don't have anything beyond your name and your face. Like, you need something for business cards and just to look more legit. But I would say first consider what industry you're in and what your target audience, and I know that phrase is like beaten to death, but it is important. And there are a lot of people way smarter than me to teach you these things, so this is just really a from my experience, 101 approach. And I would definitely recommend, like I said, I'll link below to my business coach who handled this better, and she can tell you better than me. But I've taken a couple courses on it. But you kind of want to think about who you're serving. So if you're making baby stuff, you're probably serving expectant moms, grandmoms, granddads, that sort of thing, that are buying things for kids. If it's like hair bows for babies, or if you're selling, something manly, or I don't know, like barbecue grill covers or whatever, then, your target audience is going to be people who are barbecuing. So you kind of just need to figure out like who it is you're serving, and then like what's going to appeal to them. And this may or may not be you. And this was a something that was a light bulb moment for me. And I don't know, my business is kind of weird, but it may or may not be you. Like, you may or may not be your target audience. So that's important. You can't just assume that, well, I like it, so everybody else will like it too. Like, you kind of need to think who's actually going to be buying the service or product, and then try to appeal to them. Because obviously if you're trying to appeal to grandmas, if your branding all has like spikes and skulls on it, like, they probably are not going to be so into it. Or, vice versa, if you're trying to appeal to a younger audience and your branding's very, like, subdued and sophisticated, they might not like it. So, figure that out. Sit down, write it down, brainstorm. Pinterest is a thing, go through and just really look at, like, imagery, or maybe brands that are in the same industry to you, but, like, have the similar vibe. Like, go for a vibe. I think, too, another thing with branding, and this might just be my personal opinion, is you can't really make everybody happy. And I feel like I've been in enough business circles on Facebook that I see a lot of people get really stuck here. And they get stuck just like agonizing and posting all sorts of like, I'm looking at logos, and they like all look exactly the same except for like one color is like slightly more so blue or something. And I don't know, it might just be my opinion. Don't get stuck here. Like, you're trying to make money. Like, pick something that's cool, like, make a logo, go with a name, pick something that makes sense, for your market, but don't sit there and drive yourself bananas forever, like agonizing over it. That's just my thoughts on it. So, you know, pick something that makes sense for your market and has the vibe you want, but don't like agonize forever and never move past it, because then you'll never make any money. So don't do that. So, you also need a logo. I am not a Photoshop person at all, because I'm, one, cheap and don't have Photoshop, and two, I don't know how to do Photoshop. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I have a Squarespace website, and Squarespace, you don't even have to have one of their websites. They have like a logo creator, so I will do like here in just a minute, I'll do like a screen recording showing you how to make a quick logo and how to screenshot it and save it so that you have like a file you can easily use. So I will do that. And that's how I made my logo, and turned out really slick, and I didn't get bogged down for a month trying to figure it out and make it. I also, on the same note of you're not going to make a brand that's going to make everybody happy, I think you can either really play it safe and just do something really tame and like middle of the road, or you can really be like, this is me, this is my product, these are my people, and kind of make like more of a stance of like, I'm over here, you know, or this is our vibe. And I mean, that being said, you're really going to appeal to some people, but the other people on the other side might be like, oh, that's horribly tacky, I don't like that. But, you know, if they're not your people, then, you know, who cares if they think you're horribly tacky? So, some brands that I like to mention on that is there's this brand called Bird Dogs, which is a men's shorts. I think they're kind of like bathing suits or workout shorts. I don't know. So I don't have one. My husband does, which is how I know about the brand. But their branding is hilarious. Like, it's definitely very frat boy humor, like mildly offensive, you know, but it's really funny. And I love their branding. I'm on their email list because I got a coupon to buy my husband some because he wanted them for Christmas. But I've stayed on their email list because I just love their marketing, and I always open their emails to see like what they're doing now. But I'm sure you can Google them. It's Bird Dogs Shorts or something. But they definitely, and like I said, it may totally not be your thing. It's not my brand either, but they definitely like picked a niche of like, these are the people who want these shorts, this is what they want, this is their sense of humor, and they just really went outrageous with it. And I think that's great, because instead of being like the branding makes the shorts cooler. Like, if you just saw these shorts in the store, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like, if you picked it up and saw like the features, you'd like them, but you probably wouldn't gravitate to them. Another less manly example would be makeup. I feel like if you're somebody, you know, any person who likes to wear makeup, then, you know, you kind of have different brands. I mean, there's so many different brands of makeup, and they all kind of have a different vibe. So, you know, the brands that are more like fresh-faced and natural are obviously not going to appeal so much to the people that want, like, I want glitter and red lips and sequins. So, you know, you definitely, and that's the thing, that if you're selling makeup or something like that, like, that's important to have that branding, because then the person who, I mean, the reason they're going to drop however much money on a lipstick is that they're hoping that if they wear that lipstick, that they will either feel fresh-faced and beautiful, or that they'll feel sexy and attractive, or, you know, whatever it is that your branding is applying. So, I mean, that's a lot of what you're buying with makeup, and I love makeup, so, you know, I definitely fall prey to that all the time with the marketing. So, good job, makeup people. But, so anyhow, without further ado, that was kind of my spiel on why you need branding. And like I said, I guess the first thing would just be to start thinking about who your audience is, what you want to appeal to, and maybe pick like 2 or 3 colors that you think would go with that. And then we will go look at logos. I'll show you how to make that. So, stay tuned. Okay, so after you've done all your appropriate brainstorming and you sort of have an idea of what you want to call your business and what direction you want to go in, you need a logo. So I'm sure that there are many different ways you can make a logo, but this is how I made mine. You want to go to, just Google Squarespace and logo, and you should be able to find, it's like Squarespace logo creator. And like I said, I have a Squarespace website, so that's how I found it, but you can use it without having a website. They, of course, I think you have to pay, I think it's like $10 to make one if you don't have a website, but I mean, it's like $10, so it's not that serious. So let's see, let's say you're Susie Q's coasters is what you're going with. Then you click go. And you can hear my crazy dog in the background. Silly puppy. So then, I don't know, so you're selling coasters, let's go with glass. Search. But it gives you really, Squarespace, I love their graphics. They're known for, like, their sites and their graphics are kind of known for being very clean. They look very professional. They show up well. You don't want anything that's, like, overly, you know, ornate or whatever, because it might not always. Let's say I don't like glasses. What's something else you can search for? Let's just try coasters. See if anything comes up. Oh my goodness. Well, look, here you go. And like I said, I'm not putting a ton of thought into this because obviously I'm not Susie Q. So here you go. It's a very nice, clean image, and it plugs your, you know, your name in there. It shows you how to look on like a business card, a website, a t-shirt, that sort of thing. Oh, and you can also put a tagline in. Mine is boldly traditional. So if you were Susie Q, it might be like, put your cup on this coaster. That's obviously a horrible tagline, but there you go. So now you are Susie Q's coasters with put your cup on this coaster as your official thing. And then let's see, you can, that's like, I really wouldn't recommend, like, don't overthink this would be my recommendation. Don't try to change it around too much. Like I said, that's where I have personally seen, oh, here you go. If you click, that's right. If you click on the words, you can change, like, if you want Susie Q's coasters to be blue, and then you click that color, and now that's pretty. And then if you want, like, a different, you know, okay, Susie Q's, like, whimsical, so there you go, you got some whimsical. So you click on, and this is how Squarespace websites are, too, like, whatever it is you click on, like, that's what you're editing, and then you can go in there and do that. So mess around, I think you can, you can make, if you want the cup to be pink, then, you know, there you go. And once again, don't get too extra on this, like, mine, I do have an obnoxious pink color in my logo, because that's me. And that's my brand, but the rest of it is like a very serious blue and black, and, you know, like, that's kind of my one thing. And my font isn't all, you know, it's pretty traditional, too. So I would encourage you to not get too, you know, outside the box here. So mess around with this, you know, don't make it too crazy, and then when you're done, you would hit Save Logo. And then, let's see, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, this is where it says, free for Squarespace customers, otherwise $10. And so that's what you would want. So, you know, make sure you have it right. And then you would click download, and I'm assuming it somehow asks you for $10. So you'll have to figure that out on yourself. But once we'll go back to editing. Once you have downloaded your logo, I would recommend, it's going to send you some files, and I am definitely not the world's most tech person, but basically, image files can come in different, kind of different formats, and I'm not even going to pretend to tell you about the different formats because I don't know. But all I do know is that some formats can be used, like uploaded to some places, and others can't. So one thing that was helpful I did was, I do it on my iPhone, but you can also on whatever your computer is, and you're just going to have to Google how to screenshot on my, you know, iPhone or on my MacBook Pro or whatever it is you have, because it's different on whatever device. But a screenshot is basically where you take a picture and of like whatever's on your screen, and then you can usually crop in, you know, you can crop in on the picture, you know, and like I said, it'll be different on everybody's phone or whatever, but you should be able to figure out how to do that. I've done that on my phone just so that I have my logo, and they've been saved on there forever, in an image format so that it's in like my picture roll. My photos, which, because I have a Mac, is linked on my Mac here, and it's also on like my phone photos, so that way if I need to quickly send somebody my logo, then, you know, it's already in there. And that seems to be a format that images format that can be used in many different places. So that I would just make sure you have your logo and all the appropriate, however it is Squarespace gives it to you. Those files, save those obviously, but I would also screenshot them on your computer screen or your phone, and save that in your photos as well, so you have that format as well.